Did you know that 2026 can change the entire Mr. Olympic history, as there is one female bodybuilder who is likely to break all of the records? Even Arnold Schwarzenegger and Ronnie Coleman consider him better than themselves. In 2026, there are female bodybuilders walking this planet who are bigger, heavier, and more muscular than most men who have ever stepped inside a gym. Some of them weigh more than two average women combined. One of them is so physically developed that doctors who saw her scans for the first time thought the results belonged to a male patient. This is the most updated list of the 10 biggest female bodybuilders in 2026 right now, and nothing could have prepared you for number one. Number one, Natalia Kovaleva. Natalia Kovaleva is a Russian IFBB pro female bodybuilder, and the moment she walks on stage, you notice her immediately. Her muscle size is extreme, her conditioning is sharp, and her posing presence is the kind that makes judges stop and look twice. She has built one of the most impressive physiques in Russian female bodybuilding, a country that has produced some of the biggest and strongest women in the sport's history. Kovaleva competes in the women's bodybuilding division and has made a strong name for herself on the international stage. Her back development is particularly striking. Wide, thick, and deeply detailed in a way that very few female athletes ever achieve. She is one of the most talked about names in female bodybuilding right now. And once you see her on stage, you understand why. The next athlete on this list comes from a completely different part of the world, but she is just as impressive, and her story might surprise you. Number two, Sarah Bradley. When Sarah Bradley's videos first started going viral online, the comments section told the whole story. People were confused. Most of them thought they were looking at a man. Not because Sarah looks masculine in a negative way, but because the level of muscle development, the thickness, the density, the detail, nobody had ever seen a female physique quite like this before. The kind of back that male bodybuilders train their entire lives to build. The kind of arms that make people do a double take. A physique so extreme and so complete that the human brain simply refused to accept it belonged to a woman. But it does. Sarah Bradley was born in Tunbridge Wells, England in 1996. She grew up playing rugby, athletics, and football, always the strongest girl in any room she walked into. She lost her mother at just 10 years old. Her mother was a bodybuilder too, and weight training became the one place Sarah could go to feel close to her again. She competed for Team GB in powerlifting at university, and broke 2 world records in the bench press and deadlift in the under 60 kilogram category. Then she found women's physique bodybuilding, and everything changed. She won her IFBB Pro card in 2021 at the British Championships. In May 2026, she won the Optimum Classic Pro in Shreveport, Louisiana, qualifying her for the Miss Olympia stage. Her goal is simple. She wants to win the Olympia. And looking at that physique, it is very hard to argue she cannot get there. The next athlete on this list is from Russia, and she has been turning heads across Europe for years. Number 3, Yulia Glazicheva. Yulia Glazicheva is a Russian IFBB pro athlete competing in women's physique. And if you have not heard her name yet, you will soon. She started her bodybuilding journey back in 2010. That is over 15 years of discipline, training, and slowly building a physique that now turns heads at every international competition she enters. What makes Julia stand out is not just her size, it is the combination, muscle and symmetry together, mass and detail at the same time, a physique that looks powerful from every angle, and still carries a presence on stage that very few athletes can match. She has competed at the IFBB Romania Muscle Fest Pro, one of Europe's most competitive professional bodybuilding events, and earned a 3rd place finish in 2024 against some of the best women's physique athletes in the world. Her Instagram following of nearly 90,000 people did not come from controversy or drama. It came from one thing only. People see her physique and they cannot look away. Julia herself describes her approach simply. She does not chase size alone. She chases balance, proportion, precision, and a look that holds both power and elegance at the same time. In a sport where most athletes choose one or the other, Yulia Glazicheva is trying to have both. And from what the judges have seen so far, she is getting very close. The next athlete on this list has been steadily climbing the rankings at the biggest show in the world. She is not at the top yet, but every single year she gets closer. Number 4, Anastasia Korobleva. Anastasia Korobleva is the name that serious bodybuilding fans have been watching very carefully. She is a European competitor who qualified for the 2025 Miss Olympia stage. And when she got there, she did not just show up. She showed up with a package that made judges and fans take serious notice. What Korobleva brings to the stage is exceptional symmetry combined with muscular detail that is rare even at the professional level. Every muscle group is developed. Every line is clean. Every pose tells the same story. This athlete has been working toward this for a very long time. She finished in the top contenders at the 2025 Miss Olympia, competing on the same stage as Andrea Shaw, Angela Yeo, and Ashley Lynette Jones. That lineup alone tells you everything about the level she is operating at. In bodybuilding, there are athletes who make the stage look crowded, and there are athletes who make the stage feel smaller just by standing on it. Korobleva is the second kind. Her conditioning is sharp, her structure is wide, and her overall package in 2025 was considered by many experts to be one of the most complete packages she has ever brought to competition. She has not won the Olympia yet, but she has proven she belongs in that room. And in bodybuilding, belonging in that room is where every championship story starts. The next athlete on this list finished just one place behind Andrea Shaw at the 2025 Miss Olympia, and many fans felt the gap between them was smaller than the scorecard suggested. Number 5, Celica Given. Celica Given is proof that consistency beats everything else in this sport. She has not had one single breakthrough moment that put her on the map overnight. No viral video, no shocking upset win, no controversial result that got people talking. What she has had is something more valuable than any of those things. Year after year, she shows up better than she was the year before. Given competes in the women's bodybuilding division at the professional level and has established herself as a genuine top 5 threat at the biggest shows in the sport. Her muscle maturity is the thing that experts talk about most when her name comes up. The kind of deep, dense muscle development that only comes from years and years of serious training done the right way. Her balance is exceptional. Both sides of her body develop together. Upper and lower body stay proportional, and her conditioning on stage has been getting sharper with every single appearance. She qualified for the 2025 Miss Olympia, standing on the same stage as the best female bodybuilders in the world, and she did not look out of place for a single second. In a division dominated by Andrea Shaw, who has been virtually untouchable since 2020, athletes like Celica Given are exactly why people keep watching. Because the gap is closing, slowly, but it is closing. She may not have the title yet, but every year that passes, she looks a little more like someone who eventually will. The next athlete finished on the Olympia podium in 2025. She came all the way from Brazil, and she announced herself to the world in the biggest possible way. Number 6, Levina Barros. Brazil has always produced extraordinary bodybuilders, but Levina Barros is something different even by Brazilian standards. She stepped onto the 2025 Miss Olympia stage and walked away with a bronze medal. 3rd place, at the biggest female bodybuilding competition in the world, against the deepest lineup the division has seen in years. And the way she did it is what made people pay attention. She did not sneak into 3rd place quietly. She earned it loudly. During the prejudging round at the 2025 Miss Olympia, the judges placed her in the final call-out alongside Andrea Shaw, Ashley Lynette Jones, and Angela Yeo. 4 women standing under the lights at the most prestigious show in the sport. Barros belongs in that group. Her physique is full, round muscle bellies that look complete from every angle. A conditioning level that is razor sharp without losing any of the size that makes her stand out, and a stage presence that is growing stronger every single time she competes. She is still relatively new to the top level of this sport, and that is what makes her so exciting to watch right now. Because she already has a bronze Olympia medal, she is already in the final call-out at the biggest show in the world, and she is still getting better. Most athletes spend their entire careers trying to reach the level Levina Barros is already at. She got here fast, and the question now is not whether she can compete at this level. The question is how much further she can go. The next athlete on this list finished one step above her on that same Olympia podium, and her journey to get there is one of the most unique stories in women's bodybuilding. Number 7. Angela Yeo. Angela Yeo did something in 2024 that very few athletes have ever managed to do. She beat Andrea Shaw, not at a small local show, not at a regional qualifier. At the 2024 Rising Phoenix Pro, one of the most prestigious women's bodybuilding events outside of the Olympia itself. She walked on that stage, went head-to-head with the 6-time Ms. Olympia champion, and won. The bodybuilding world took notice immediately. Yeo is known for 2 things above everything else: her conditioning and her presentation. When she steps on stage, she looks like she has been carved from stone. Every muscle is visible. Every detail is sharp. Nothing is soft. Nothing is out of place. She brings the kind of dry, shredded look that judges have always rewarded, and she brings it consistently. Going into the 2025 Miss Olympia, she was considered the most dangerous challenger to Andrea Shaw's crown, the rematch everyone wanted to see, and the 2 of them were placed together in comparisons throughout prejudging, a clear signal from the judges that this was the battle they were watching most closely. Shaw won. Yeo finished 4th. But here is what that result does not tell you. Yeo had already proven she could beat the best woman in the sport. On the right day, with the right conditioning, she has shown the entire world that she is capable of standing at the very top. The 2025 Olympia was Shaw's day, but Angela Yeo is not done chasing hers. The next athlete on this list did not just climb the rankings. She outgrew 2 entire divisions before she found the one that finally fit her. Number 8. Ashley Lynette Jones. Some athletes find their division immediately. Ashley Lynette Jones had to outgrow 2 of them first. She started her career competing in figure, then she moved to women's physique, and in both divisions, she kept running into the same problem. The muscle she was building was too much, too thick, too dense, too developed for what those divisions were looking for. Most athletes would have dieted down and tried to fit the mold. Ashley Lynette Jones built more muscle and changed divisions instead. She moved into women's bodybuilding, the most extreme division in female competition. And suddenly everything made sense. The size that was too much everywhere else was exactly right here. The quads that judges in other divisions asked her to reduce became the thing that made her impossible to ignore on the Olympia stage. And those quads deserve a special mention. Ashley Lynette Jones has some of the most developed legs in the history of women's bodybuilding. The kind of quad separation and detail that male bodybuilders train decades to achieve. When she hits a front pose, the muscle feathering runs from her hip all the way down to her knee in lines so clear and defined that even experienced judges have been seen reacting visibly in the moment. At the 2025 Miss Olympia, she finished 2nd, silver medal, behind only Andrea Shaw, the most dominant female bodybuilder of this generation. She went from figure competitor to Olympia silver medalist. She did not shrink to fit the sport. She grew until the sport had no choice but to make room for her. The next name on this list has held the top spot in women's bodybuilding for 6 straight years. And at the 2025 Olympia, she somehow looked better than she ever has before. Number 9, Andrea Shaw, 6 years, 6 Olympia titles, no losses on the Olympia stage. Andrea Shaw is not just the best female bodybuilder in the world right now. She is one of the most dominant champions in the entire history of the sport, male or female. Born in Detroit, Michigan in 1983, Andrea grew up doing gymnastics and competitive cheerleading. She was always athletic, always strong, but bodybuilding was not even on her radar at first. Then at 13 years old, she walked into Powerhouse Gym with her mother, and she saw Linda Murray training, 8-time Miss Olympia champion, one of the greatest female bodybuilders who ever lived, training right there in front of her. Andrea Shaw cut that moment out of her mind and kept it there for the next 20 years. She did not have a smooth road to the top. She competed in figure, stepped away from the sport for 8 years, went back to university to study exercise science, and then came back to competition in her mid-30s. Most athletes are retiring by that age. Andrea Shaw was just getting started. In 2019, Linda Murray, the same woman she had watched train as a child, watched her compete and told her to switch to bodybuilding. 1 year later, Andrea Shaw won the Miss Olympia title on her very first attempt, and she has not stopped winning since. 2020 to 2025, 6 consecutive titles. At the 2025 Olympia, she was 41 years old. and she brought what many experts called the best physique of her entire career. Her legs displayed a level of feathering and separation that set new standards for the division. Her midsection conditioning was compared to the men's open division. Her back double biceps pose alone was enough to end the competition before the final scores were announced. She is now the third most decorated Miss Olympia champion in history, behind only Linda Murray's 8 titles and Iris Kyle's 10. And she is still competing, still improving, still untouchable on that stage. The final name on this list is not just the biggest female bodybuilder on this list. She may be the biggest female bodybuilder who has ever walked the earth. Number 10, Natalia Kuznetsova. No matter what topic you cover in female bodybuilding, this name is impossible to leave off the list. Every single time someone makes a video about the biggest female bodybuilders in the world, Natalia Kuznetsova is there. Every time someone talks about the most extreme female physiques ever built, Natalia Kuznetsova is there. Every time the internet discovers female bodybuilding for the first time and cannot believe what it is seeing, it is usually her they are looking at. She is that unavoidable. Born on July 1st, 1991 in Chita, Siberia, one of the coldest and most remote parts of Russia, Natalia did not grow up dreaming of becoming a bodybuilder. She was a shy, quiet girl who weighed just 40 kilograms at the age of 14, 88 pounds. Her father suggested she try weightlifting to build her confidence. 3 months into training, her coach saw something extraordinary and asked her if she wanted to compete. She said yes, and from that moment, nothing was ever the same. By 15, she was already a regional champion in Zabaikalsky Krai. By 16, she was competing in both bodybuilding and powerlifting at the same time. By 17, she was already bench pressing 220 pounds. The girl who had weighed 88 pounds 3 years earlier was now stronger than most grown men. She moved to Moscow in 2008 to study at the Moscow State Academy of Physical Culture. And while she was studying, she was also competing and winning constantly. The titles started stacking up fast. World champion in bench press, world champion in deadlift, world champion in arm lifting, multiple European titles, multiple Russian national titles, world records set and broken and set again. And through all of it, her body kept growing. Off-season, she now weighs between 220 and 275 pounds depending on the year. To put that in perspective, that is heavier than most male professional bodybuilders walk around at between competitions. She is officially recognized as the heaviest female bodybuilder in the world. Her biceps are larger than most men's. Her quads are wider than most men's. Her back is wider than most men's. She literally dwarfs her own husband, who is himself a retired professional bodybuilder, in every physical measurement. When people see photos of the two of them together for the first time, the reaction is almost always the same: complete disbelief. But here is what makes Natalia Kuznetsova's story so much more than just extreme size. She is genuinely happy. She has spoken openly about how shy and insecure she was as a teenager, how she had no confidence, how she felt invisible, and how every single kilogram of muscle she built gave her something she had never felt before: power over her own life. She has over 1.3 million Instagram followers. She has been featured in documentaries. She has sponsorship deals with major brands including 5% Nutrition, the company founded by the late Rich Piana. She now lives in Montenegro with her husband, where she coaches other athletes and runs fitness programs. She is not chasing anyone else's idea of what a woman should look like. She built exactly the body she wanted to build. And in a world that constantly tells women to be smaller, Natalia Kuznetsova decided to become the biggest.